Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond Compatibility, the podcast where we explore what makes relationships truly work. I am Lucas, and here we talk about love, connections, and what keeps them strong. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or just curious about the dynamics of compatibility, there is something here for you. Today, we are talking with Johanna, a teacher and entrepreneur building a collective for offline dating. Expect to learn about the problems of online dating and how people are experiencing new ways of relating off the grid. We're going to talk about loneliness in big cities, like Berlin, and how the future of dating looks like. Also, we are going to see the differences of dating in between men and women and their different struggles. And we are going to tell some spicy stories about dating in Berlin. I hope you like this episode. Johanna,
yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see you here.
Nice to see you too. Really nice to be here.
That's really cool. So, and also thank you because I'm aware that yesterday you ran the last version of Smingle.
Yes, it was the second Smingle Party.
Oh, and how did it go?
It was really successful. I was very surprised about how many people showed up. So the first time we were 13 people and this time we were 20. So yeah, and the mood was super and nobody wanted to go home. So I got home at 4 o'clock this morning.
4?
Yes.
Well, thanks for being here right now.
Yeah, thank you.
So can you go a little bit in detail what happened yesterday in the Smingle Party?
So Smingles is like a word for a single ready to mingle, and it's just a bunch of singles meeting up in Berlin with the possibility to match afterwards, but it's not the main focus. It could also be that you want to meet other singles that you can go out with, or you find someone with the same interests as you have. So some of the participants, they even said like, oh wow, I actually made a lot of friends here tonight. And that is something I have been advertising, but I think they were still surprised that we don't just do the classical sitting two people together in one table like speed dating. It's actually, I'm telling everyone, if you're a man interested in a woman or vice versa, but you get to sit next to another man, it's fine. Like, we're here to get to know each other. So it's like, imagine speed dating, but relaxed and fun.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I think speed dating can be a bit stressy and...
Okay, but yeah. It's not dating app.
No, it's a community.
It's a community.
Yeah, and hopefully it will turn into an app one day. But right now it's just a lot of people who meet up and we do social activities together and drink and listen to music. And we had a picnic one time also. So,
oh, a picnic?
Yes, in the summer when it was still nice outside.
Oh,
yeah.
Now things are becoming a little bit more windy and rainy here in Berlin, right?
Yes, and I was really worried. I was like, okay, now I have to find good places, and I thought I would have to go on hunts for a good spot where it's big enough to sit everyone together, spacey enough to move around, because we're doing activities where we move, and also that it can be a bit intimate, that we're not sitting like in the middle of a bar with other people. And I was like, okay, this is going to be tricky. And actually, I didn't even have to look because a bar reached out to me and said, hey, we were thinking to host single events. We saw that you're doing it. Would you like to do it in our bar? So like, I didn't have to pay or anything. I was helping them. I brought in customers and they helped me to find a space. So
okay,
good things are just coming. It's really nice.
Yeah, so I before going to the specific dynamics of Smingle, maybe you can come closer. Mm-hmm. So can see the face directly in the camera. And so what exactly can I expect as a member of the Smingle community once I go to an event?
So the thing that I want to push is that you can be extroverted, introverted, it doesn't matter. I will take care of you. I will make you feel comfortable. I will help you break the ice. So basically, I want to take away the anxiety a lot of people have to meet. And it's always a bit nerve-wracking in the beginning. And as a friend said to me, it's like, imagine you going on a date, you're always a bit nervous when you first meet the person, but now you're doing it in front of 20 other people. I was like, oh yeah, true. That is a bit nervous, but I try to, as soon as possible, start to play some games and like how people can introduce themselves in a very fun and playful way. And as soon as you've done one game, everyone is super relaxed and yeah.
Okay. So I'm understanding that I go to a place, it could be a picnic, it could be a bar, and I found you and 20 other people
Exactly.
that are singles
Yes.
and ready to mingle.
Exactly. And I always try to invite people to like just write your little name on your name tag and relax, sit down. But then quite straight away, I'm like, okay, you guys are going to sit here. You're going to do this. And yesterday I did it by the help of cards. I just used a deck of cards and I gave out cards. And when they found their matching card, they had to sit down together. And
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are some games, and based on those games, I start talking with individuals.
exactly. I have ready-made cards with questions that are very fun and things that I think a lot of people haven't even thought of. So it's also like it's fun for yourself, not just that you're trying to represent yourself to this person. You also start to think about things about your childhood or like think questions like, what would you do if you had no fear? What is one thing that you would do? And then people are like, oh, what would I do? And they start talking. And these are not your usual dating questions. You know, these questions like, do you have any siblings you work with? And it's like, I've heard these questions a million times before and I've answered them a million times before. So I like to find like a different way to get to know people.
Okay, and how people react when they start seeing all these questions and, like...
So yesterday I tried a new thing where I asked everyone to write on a piece of paper a statement about themselves.
Okay.
And they had to start the sentence with, I am or I have. And one of them wrote, I am nervous. And I thought that was so cute. And I just looked at her and I'm like, bless you. And I told her, like, you know what, I'm also a little bit nervous and it's okay, but it's going to be better. And then we mixed all the papers together and I handed them out. So they got random papers. And then I said, keep this piece of paper the whole night. At the end of the night, you're going to have to find the rightful person who wrote this. And then at the end of the night, when she got her note back that said, I am nervous, I asked her, are you still nervous? She's like, no, everything's good. So I think people enter with a little bit of nervousness. They come alone as well. Like a lot of them bring friends, but half of them are just coming by themselves. And they sit down and some of them are like looking a little bit on their phones because they have to wait for everyone to arrive before we can start. So I can tell these people would not approach each other if they didn't have like a purpose or like an activity. So yeah, they are nervous and they're a bit shy and that's totally normal.
No, I see. Like, it must be very fun to be
It
in that
is.
event.
Someone asked me, like, what's in it for you? I'm like, I brought all these people together. They would never have met otherwise. And I even said, like, even if Smingle this was the last party, I still gave someone this night. So we will remember this for a long time. So I hope it's going to grow bigger and bigger and become really successful because I want to help people. But dating is so hard, especially in Berlin. But if it doesn't, then at least we had a good time. It was a good party, you know?
No, I can imagine. I can picture the event. So I see that you are working with people to help them find a person they want to be with, but it's not the traditional dating app environment. What kind of things make you decide to go more off the grid, more...
I feel like we have social media, but we are lonelier than ever.
Okay.
We need to get off the grid. You know, like there's so much addiction and I think we spoke about like how many people are dating from dating apps. Did we speak about that or someone else told me?
Yeah, I mean, at this very moment, what the number says is that the half of the couples that are formed
Exactly. Yeah.
nowadays are through dating apps.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are increasing numbers of people that are very frustrated with the dynamics, that
Yeah.
they feel, both men and women, that they feel lonely, empty after
Yeah.
using those apps.
Yeah.
And there is some sort of movement, generically speaking, towards going off the grid,
Yeah.
or doing this concept of offline dating. Coming back to the previous times where we used to date without dating apps.
Yeah, and I also feel like it's so curated what you put up on your app, and I might not give someone a chance that if I would meet them in person, I would be head over heels.
Right.
So I like the slogan is first we party, first you party, then you match. So I just want people to get a chance, like get to know me. Like it's not all about surface, and also like what we put in the app. That's not you. That's like a small fraction of you, and it might not even show who you really are. It's like my best friend, I showed him my Tinder profile, and he's like, oh my God, Johanna, what is this? And he's like, no, no, no. And then he chose pictures for me.
Oh.
Yeah, and then one of the pictures that I realized, because on Tinder, it chooses the one that is most liked as
Okay.
your front picture. And it was just me drinking a cup of coffee with my hair like all over the place in bed, no makeup, no nothing. And that was the most liked one. And it was authentic. And before, I think I had like very styled ones and like posing in front of, I don't know, the Eiffel Tower, such a cliche. But that showed me like, yeah, like we do want real. But even better, like if you meet someone in person, you also get a feel for them. And like we don't want this Instagram perfect. Like, people are tired of it.
That's a very interesting insight, that the social media and dating apps where we see these profiles that are heavily curated, and we don't actually get to see the real person that is behind. So the fact that you're mentioning that the picture that you had that got the most likes was one that you were in your house, like
Yeah, and also I wouldn't personally have chosen that one. My friend was like, yeah, just take this. And I'm like, you think so? And I tried, and I was like, okay, it's actually the most popular picture. So I think maybe we have this assumption that people want to see perfect, but actually I don't think that's what the majority of people want. I think people want normal, and we want to also feel normal. We want to feel that we are beautiful, even though we don't have these crazy bodies that we see that are
correct, that take out the pressure of being perfect,
Yeah.
and showing up perfectly, and with the best pictures, with the best version of ourselves permanently. That adds a lot of pressure to people, and probably it's one of the reasons that, I mean, you can sense it, if someone it's feeling or has this energy that I need to be perfect all the time, that there is something that is off in that energy.
definitely, yeah.
And let's go back to the origins of the idea. How did you come up with this idea of partying?
It was actually one of my friends here in Berlin. We were talking about, because I always organize things for my friends, and I love doing that, and I love bringing people together. And he's like, Johanna, you should do this like as a living. And I'm like, well, could I really? And then he was like, oh, I know this woman in LA, and he told me about a concept that was similar to this, but there it was like she would match people. She would read their profiles and be like, these two should meet. And then many different matches were invited to her house, and they would have a dinner together. But then I was like, yeah, but what if like two people that weren't matched, like what if they vibe, and like wouldn't they be able to? And my friend was like, no, it's too messy. I'm like, no, actually, I think it's doable. And then so I took his idea, which was some woman in LA's idea, but then I made it into my idea, and like I did some changes.
Okay, I see. But you mentioned that she was, or he was, previously matching people. So previous to the event, there was this selection of this person should match with this person.
Exactly.
And how does the matching process works in Smingle?
So in Smingle, it's the other way around. Like I invite people to an event, and like I just hope that there's going to be a 50-50 selection of men and women. So far, I've been quite lucky, but yeah, I need to figure it out, like how to do it even better in the future. So I just let people come to the party. I don't even know who's coming before, because I do some advertisement, and people, they show up. So that's really cool. And then I explain to them how it works, that we're gonna socialize tonight. If there's someone that you would like to meet again, like in a romantic way, or like you would like to date them, then you have to contact Smingle through the email.
Okay, I see.
And I also tell them that it's okay for you if you ask for someone's number, or if you ask for their Instagram or so on, because it can also be that I'm vibing with you, but I don't want to date you in a romantic way, but I would love to go to a theater with you or whatever. So I said, like, don't feel like you're not allowed to ask for each other's numbers or Instagram, but if you want to make sure that it's really like a match where both of you are interested in each other, it has to be through the email. And how it works is that if two people are separately from each other, if both of them individually contact me and say, I would like the other person's contact, then I give it to them.
Well, I think it's a really, really good idea.
Yeah, I just, what I need to build up first now, I need to build up trust, because I have had people who are like, so if I tell you who I want to match with, you're not telling anyone. I'm like, of course not. This is the whole idea of the community, and it's going to fall apart if I start gossiping about who's liking who. And I also had people who were like, oh, but come on, can you tell me? Like, they're super curious. And I'm like, no, I won't budge. Like, this is super holy. The whole concept is that people feel like they can trust me, because it's not a computer selection. It's not a system that matches. It's like, I will know, and it will stay a secret with me. But yeah, it's nice. I've had some emails coming in this morning about people who want to match. So I'm going to have to sit down later on and see if there are any matching emails.
Okay, so sounds very interesting, the whole event experience. Do you see any differences or challenges that men are facing in the Smingle event, or women are facing, specific for them, that are not being faced in dating apps, for example? Or how would you see the challenges that men and women are, because, to put some context, dating apps are, they provide different experience for men and women, and essentially the struggles that men and women are facing through dating apps are completely different. So for one side, if we check the numbers, particularly in Tinder, a man gets one match every 40 swipe rights,
Yeah.
and a woman gets one match every 2 swipes.
Yeah.
So the experience for men is essentially like, I'm spending a lot of time swiping and getting very little matches.
Yeah.
And the experience for women is, I'm getting a lot of matches, but I'm feeling overwhelmed by a lot of attention that I don't want, especially messages that are inappropriate, that can feel unsafe. And also there is a lot of, who do I pick out of all these?
And also this feeling like the grass is always greener on the other side. I think, you're talking to someone, it's like, oh, they are great, and then you're talking to this next person, they're also great, and then you get this little dopamine kick from the matching, but then you sort of leave the phone for a week and you don't check the app, and then you totally forget. And you're like, oh, sorry, I didn't answer. What challenges Smingle has? I would say they're similar problems, of course. So I don't think it's just the app. I think it's like how our society is built. My friend said to me, we were eating, so I was bringing the food to my mouth, and he was sort of like he was leaning over, and he brought his mouth to the food. And he said, look at us, like, this is the difference between men and women. Women bring the food to the mouth, and men bring the mouth to the food. So it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, men, they go for after what they want, and women, they let the men come to them. And personally, like if you ask me, I think it's the woman who chooses the man. And you see this also in dating apps, but you also see it in Smingle. So the difference, like I do notice that there are more men who are eager to ask for a match than women. But I think that's fair. I know some women who said like, yeah, I might want to match with him, but I would like to meet like for a second Smingle event. So it could be like they just want to have a bit of more time as well.
No, that there are two things that I find very exciting of what you mentioned. One is the last thing you said, that one of the key things that I found very interesting is the recurrence. Kind of I go to a Smingle event, but then I have a chance to go again. So I can see the similar faces or same faces in different events, which I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, from a woman's perspective, it could see, okay, I see this person, he's coming like second, third time to the event. I know that it's not a creep, so I could be more keen to know that person more, or seeing it in other environments.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interest, because a lot of the problems that come from dating app is that you are actually meeting a random person.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, and the more time they meet, the less random they will feel. Like I even saw yesterday, I saw a lot of people that were at the first event, and even like guys hugging other guys, like, "Hey man, like good to see you again," and so on. One problem I feel like it's like I would like to have more queer people.
More queer.
'Cause I'm inviting everybody. Like I don't care. The age should be like between 20 and 40 to keep it somewhat interesting for everyone. And there's been queer people at both events, but it's like maybe 2 or 3 people, which means it's the range for them is not so big. Like they don't have so much to choose from. So if there's like only 2 queer people there, then they might only be interested to talk to each other.
Correct.
Like to see if it works. But if it then doesn't work, then they are a little bit stuck there. So I know one guy who was like, yeah, I didn't really find anyone that I was interested in, but he met a girl that he was like, she was so nice, she was so lovely, and like they're probably becoming friends. So yes, it's a problem. Like I would like more variety of people. More gay girls, that would be amazing. I haven't had a single one yet, so that's a bit sad. Yeah. But I don't want it to be like typical just straight or typical only 20-year-olds. Like, no, I want people to feel like they're all welcome, and the focus is not actually like you don't have to find your life partner in one night. That would be nice, but like, the focus is that we're meeting, we're having fun, we're creating a nice event together.
No, I see. And coming back to the point, like in a moment where we are facing a loneliness epidemic across the board, the fact that we have spaces where we can celebrate and meet other people that are singles, but not necessarily need to be, as you mentioned, to meet a person that is going to be your life partner, but you can make friends, you can see them in...
And who knows, maybe you're friends for 5 years and then boom, it's a partner later on. Like you never know. Never know. Yeah. So, but I did actually, I'm not gonna like mention any names or anything, but I did have 2 people yesterday that were very interested in each other. Yeah. And we went to one bar first, and then a bit later on we went to a second bar because we just wanted to like mix a little bit with other people as well. And I was walking around with a big Smingle sign, and people asked, "What's Smingle? What's Smingle?" And I told them like, "Oh, it's this dating community. Is it working?" And I was like pointing at this cute little new couple, and I was like, "They met tonight. I think it's working."
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations to them. Maybe I don't know.
Definitely. So, you mentioned that you would like to see more in Smingle queer people.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Do you think it's necessary to separate the spaces, make them Smingle for queer people or Smingle for
I
straight
mean, of
people?
course, it could be done, but honestly, I feel like Berlin is so segregated already with queers and straight. And I always love to mix up my friend groups. And a lot of straight people are like, they're actually really funny. They're actually really nice. I'm like, gay people are the funniest. Like, what are you talking about?
But maybe they can reconsider.
They do, you know? Like, I've had a lot of people who, they have a lot of images of, like, who, like, what they would be like. And then they meet them and they're like, okay, no. They're like, you know, they have no idea. So, no, I don't want to segregate it. It would be... No, I would like to have it the way I do. But it would make it easier for me, perhaps. But then I would have to say no to people. Like, no, you can't come because you're straight, or no, you can't come because you're gay. And I'm like, no, I don't want to say that.
No, I see,
Yeah.
I understand. You mentioned that in Berlin, people are already segregated. What do you mean by that?
Like, a lot of my queer friends only hang out with queer people, and a lot of my straight friends only hang out with straight people.
Oh,
and there's
okay.
parties for, you know, they call it queer parties, and then it's parties for queers. And then if it's not called anything, if it's just a party, it's sort of automatically a straight party.
I see.
You know, like if you just go to any club and it's not, like especially queer, then a lot of people are going to be straight. So it would be nicer if we could mix up a bit more.
Yeah, I see. And also the dating experience in Berlin must be different, or like in general in big cities must be different, like other cities or in other moments.
Yeah, the thing is, I think it's like always hard to date, or just loneliness in general if you're in a big city. But I think also in Berlin it's even harder because we have like we have the polyamorous community, and we have like, you know, it's very sex positive, but I think sometimes people are missing connection. So, you know, you can have a lot of fun in the city, and I know a lot of people who are living their lives, but then at the end of the day, they're like, I want to have this connection with the person. It doesn't have to be a partner, but someone that you feel like you're having an experience together. It's not two people just having sex and they just happen to be with each other. No, it's actually two people doing it together. They're having an experience together.
Okay, I see that because of this sex positive culture and more openness to other forms of relationships, like polyamory or open relationships, people are having harder times to connect.
That's my take on it. Yeah. And I base this on what I hear from others, and yeah, like you can always meet people in Berlin. You can always go to a club and like have new best friends for the night, but to have those people that you can call when you need them, or you're feeling lonely, and like, you know, people who know you, and I think it's hard.
No, I see. I believe so. Okay, so we were talking about the experience with Smingle, the experience with online dating, offline dating, and what do you think the future of dating is going? You are with your projects Mingle are innovating in the forefront of the dating part, in the transition to offline dating, and what do you think the future of dating looks like?
I think we're going to see more and more different movements that is offline. Like there's already, have you heard about the one in Spain? They're putting a pineapple upside down in their cart when they go shopping to show that I'm single, and then they meet up in the wine section, and then if they bump into each other, it means they're interested in each other, and it's apparently like really taking off. So when I heard about that, I'm like, and this is in Spain, so I was like, it's you know, it's everywhere. People are like really wanting to meet. I think people want to be able to say, when people say, how did you meet? I think they want to have like a nice story, because everyone's like, oh, the usual dating apps. And I really think there's going to be more and more of this. And then there's the one in Edeka,
Edeka?
Have you heard?
No, I didn't hear about it.
They have pink baskets when you go shopping, which means you're single and you're looking.
Okay, that's very, very interesting, because there is apparently, from what I understanding, there is a component that you need to know that the other person is single.
Yeah, and there's also these rings. You can like put a ring on your finger, meaning like if you're single, what kind of like if you're looking for a partner or hookup and things like this. So I think it just needs like you need to have one thing that really takes off, so a lot of people can use it. Because what's the point of having a ring if I'm the only one, for example? But there is definitely a big interest in finding new ways to date.
Yeah, I see. I see, but I'm particularly interested in this idea of knowing that the other person is single. It seems like there is a barrier in between in the dating world that I don't feel comfortable, or I don't want to make the interaction uncomfortable if you already have a girlfriend or a boyfriend.
I've actually had like the craziest thing happening to me lately because of Smingle. I see people who look like, oh, they could be fun, and I want to invite them, and I go up to them straight, and I would never do this usually, and I'm like, hi, my name's Johanna, are you single? And I don't do it to flirt. And in the beginning, I wanted to be like, yeah, I'm going to invite you to this event. And they're like, yeah, I'm single. Why? You're single? And I'm like, oh my God, they think I'm flirting. And I'm realizing it's quite successful to be so upfront. But I would never personally just go up to someone and be like, hey, are you single? So I think it could actually be easier if we were all just like, are you single? No? Okay, have a good day, thank you. Or, are you single? Yes. Okay, I would like to get to know you. And then they can say like, oh, sorry, no, I'm not interested. If we would just make it a bit easier, like, that would be one way.
No, I mean, I see your point. I need to say that, yeah, if you check in the social media and a lot of these guru dating coaches for men, they talk about these openers or how you need to approach a woman in the streets, and what.
And how do you need to approach a woman? I never heard this. Tell me.
One of the things that they mention is that you need to set the frame. So apparently, like when you're saying, are you single? You're setting a frame. This conversation is not about me asking for directions. This conversation is not, like asking for this conversation is about you and I knowing if you're single and trying to establish a romantic, could be a hookup or not, connection, but it's not a random interaction. And it's important to say what are your intentions.
Yeah.
Because it happens a lot that, you approach, like, hey, how are you doing? And you sit down and the other person is, why are you talking to me? Why are you sitting down? So you can pay a compliment, like, hey, look, you look very cute tonight. Or that outfit is really great. My name is Lucas, and then you can ask, are you single? So this kind of interactions help establish this frame in between. But it all goes back to the point that you mentioned before. You need to be direct.
Yeah, I think it works actually. But I discovered that by chance, and then when I tell them like, yeah, because I have this event, they get really disappointed. So no, I think it would be like it's worth trying, like just to go up to a woman if that's what you're into. Be like, hey, like you said, like give a compliment and say like, would you like to meet for a coffee? But I think what's really important is if a woman says, no, thank you, there's no more, like, it stops there. There's no more like, why not? Can you do? No. Like when a woman says like, no, thank you, you leave it there, because that means the next time, then it's more comfortable for women to be approached by men.
Correct.
I think the fear is not like being asked for a coffee. The fear is when you say no and it becomes a discussion. And it's like, I don't need to discuss with anybody why I don't want to meet a stranger.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That's very interesting. Very, very important. Once you see that the other person is not interested, interested in this interaction,
Yeah.
that you back off. And that's okay. You know, like sometimes I feel that men, because we are the ones that need to initiate usually the interaction, we are scared of being rejected. And because of that, two things happen. One is that, or I don't approach anyone. I just continue my walk and I don't approach that girl. Or I approach them expecting something in return.
Yeah.
So in the moment we get rejected, it's not necessarily rejected, because the other person can have a boyfriend, the other girl can have a boyfriend, or
It could be anything, and that's the thing. Like, I might reject someone not even because of them. Like, I might be in a bad state in my life right now. Like, I don't want to date anybody. Who knows? Like, you never know what other people are going through. That's the thing. So sometimes people take it very personal. It could also just be like, you're not my style. I'm not into people that have your energy or that have your looks, and that's also okay. Like,
that's
you know,
perfectly fine. And I think
and it doesn't mean that you're not lovable, or you know, it's just like you're not the preference of this one person, and like, don't give up, keep asking. I think, yeah,
I think that's really great directional advice for men that are probably thinking, how should I approach women? What are the dynamics? And to know that a woman saying no to you in a particular moment doesn't mean that it's something wrong
absolutely
about you.
not. But we all have different tastes. You know, some people drink coffee, some people drink tea. It's the same with like what we like, what we are attracted to. But everyone has something lovable about them. Everyone can be, you know, I think every person has some kind of attractiveness. But I also, of course, I have more or less a style. And if I have someone that approach me, and they're not my style, I still feel very flattered. You know, I'm like, and I can be appreciative, but it can also be like, no, I have my life, I have my friends, I have so many things going on. I don't have time for like another date right now.
No, definitely. And apart from that, of the types, I listened in another podcast, in Chris Williamson podcast, Modern Wisdom, that women have a super significant superpower, that apparently scientifically you can smell what is called the histocompatibility profile.
Mm-hmm.
So you, because of you or your genetics, you are protected to some particular kind or types of diseases. And me, because of my genetic profile, I'm protected by different diseases. If the comparison in between the two, which could signal that the potential upbringing, the potential child is going to be
good
more
genes.
better protected
Yeah.
for more diseases, you are going to feel particularly attracted. It's a superpower that only women have. Men, we don't have it.
And smell is, to me and a lot of my my girlfriends, like we say, like a scent can be what makes a man attractive or not. Really, I can look at a man and like nothing happens, and he walks by and he smells good. And I'm like, oh my god! And I'm not the only woman who feels this.
And this you cannot sense it in.
But also, I think the hormones, like, you know, we all have like a personal smell.
Correct.
And we are very attracted to you know, pheromones. The men are attracted to pheromones and so on. And they say if you're attracted to your partner's sweat, you know, if you don't find that like, you're actually, you think it smells good, then you are compatible, and your babies will have good genes and so on.
Correct,
That's why we're so attracted to each other. Like, we're so drawn to each other because of our smells and hormones and everything.
No, yeah, and for this attracting to things. No, sometimes if you are as a man and you're approaching a woman and you get rejected, sometimes it's
maybe she didn't like your smell.
Correct. Maybe it's something about your genes, you know, like it's are not matching perfectly with the other, and it's nothing.
So next time I'll just say, like, I'm really sorry, I'm just not programmed to be into you. It's not your fault. It's your hormones.
No, yeah, and add some relief.
Is that a better way to let someone down? Like, can't help it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's your gene. No, you cannot say that.
Okay. I'll just say it like, no, thank you.
But this is a very interesting thing that also you don't have it in traditional dating apps. So if you are swiping and if you are matching, there are some things related with the attraction, like the superpower, sniffing histocompatibility profiles. That
Maybe
you
that's something they need to develop, like an app where you can like sniff them.
oh, okay. Well, we're taking notes,
Yeah.
for future development.
No, I really do. I really do believe in meeting in person.
Yeah.
Like,
So
yeah.
do you think the future is going to be more offline?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think I see directions. I see people wanting this to happen. Like I don't even have to look for people really. They're coming to me. Like they want to have something that's real and authentic. And like you said, it's like a disease. You know, it's a health issue with our phones. And yeah,
Yeah, no, definitely. And I agree with you that the future of human connection necessarily needs to happen through offline spaces.
yeah,
And we are seeing mainly two tendencies or two trends that are happening now, especially with the arrival of AI and AI companions, that because dating and human relationships are a messy, complex, unstructured process, stressful sometimes, where you need to deal with rejection, you need to deal with the signals of the other person, non-verbal cues, and all this stuff. It's complex, but necessary. So,
Yeah.
because of this complexity, a lot of people are turning into AI.
yeah. They're incompetent when it comes to like reading body signals. I was in a gay bar not long ago, and you're not allowed to film in there because sometimes people are going, a little bit crazy, and they can be free in themselves. And this one guy, he was walking around naked, and he was approaching me and my gay friends, and we were all like just turning we were answering him, we were being polite, but we weren't keeping any eye contact, and we were like turning because we're like, it's not the vibe. It just felt so weird for us, and he did not take a hint. Like our body language was so clear, and I feel like in general, like people getting less and less competent in just reading. Just read my body language. It's the body language is more than the words you say.
Correct.
Like I can say something in a very sarcastic way, but if you can't read my body language, you're gonna take it literal. And I think that's another way to practice this. You need to meet people in order to practice
There is
body
no other
language.
way.
And
You need to approach girls or guys and see what's the reaction, and learn from it. And
maybe a Smingle could even be like a way for you to, like, the more you go, the more you become competent in body language reading and all those little cues that you need.
no, and I find it like a perfect like scenario where you can practice because I believe that if we don't go through this process of learning and we turn into AI companions, AI girlfriends, AI boyfriends.
Oh, have you heard about this? Like, yeah, you can have like an AI friend,
Yeah.
and people are addicted to it.
No, definitely.
Someone who's always there, always think everything you say is amazing and great.
You have
but that's not how life works.
You have a
You have
girlfriend
to
or
be
a
challenged.
boyfriend
Yeah.
that never disagrees with you, that everything is fantastic, that like you don't need to.
But what does that make to a person as well? Like, imagine if you already have like a little bit of narcissistic tendencies, and then someone's like, "Yeah, you're amazing. Like, you're doing like, we are, like you said, we're turning into robots."
Yeah, and the less we practice, the less competent we are in the social interaction, and the less likelihood is that we get successful out of that interaction. But if we have those spaces like Smingle, if we have offline spaces like in Mercadona or in EDK, where we can practice approaching people, talking, having small talk, ask deep questions, similar to what you mentioned before, so let's ask deep questions to people so they can ask themselves and understand themselves better, understand themselves what they want, and they can find people that are in the same wavelength or the same energy, levels, let's
Yeah,
say.
and I think also like you can be inspired by other people as well. Like if you see, that's why so I want to get off. Like I want to get off the grid, but of course, like I'm doing videos and so on, and I want people to see this and be like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it too. Because the people who go to Smingle, they're like just normal people. It's not some like the most extroverted people. It really is people who feel like I'm a little bit shy. I don't know how to approach people, and some of them are extrovert, and they can sort of be inspired by each other. So some of the people in the group, they will like immediately approach others and be like, "Hi, my name's Johanna. What do you do for a living?" Da da da. And then you have the other ones that are like a little bit in the corner. So I think the group can also help the introverted ones. They can inspire each other in how to interact with each other.
No, that's great. And yeah, I think these kind of spaces are great for it. And but what, I wanted to ask things in another direction.
All right.
So you are seeing dating dynamics in Smingle. You experience the dating life in Berlin, and I want to know a little bit more about you, about how are you, or like what stories have you heard in dating in Berlin? And
Berlin is a crazy place for dating. It's like, I don't even know if I'm dating to find a partner or if I just like need stories to entertain my friends nowadays. But yeah, when I moved here, I had a relationship with a guy who lived here, and when we broke up, I've never lived in Berlin as single before, so that was the first for me. And I was like, it's a shit show. But I've reached a point now where I'm like, we can laugh about it. But Berlin is so vibrant. There's always something happening. Like I think dating can also be like a way to see the city. Rather than thinking like, I'm going to meet someone who's going to become my partner, I can be like, I can share this moment with someone. If I like them, that's nice. But like, discover new restaurants or see and do and experience things that you haven't done before. But I mean, I met this guy once who stayed in a hotel. So we met in the hotel bar for our date, and the hotel had this huge aquarium. Do you know which aquarium I'm talking about? It was like the biggest aquarium in the world or something like this, and it was like a big tube, and it exploded.
I read the news
Yes.
about the explosion of this aquarium. Were you there in the moment of the explosion?
Not in the moment of the explosion, thank God. But it was funny because, of course, I made some videos of the aquarium, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I didn't know this aquarium existed. I've been in Berlin for 2 years, and like, how did I not know about this? And he's like, yeah, I always stay here when I visit Berlin. And then a few hours later, it exploded, and there were like fish flying like everywhere in the street, in the U-Bahn. I heard like water came down in the U-Bahn stations around, and the whole thing just looked like, yeah, it was crazy. But I didn't know about this until my phone was just like exploding with messages like, what did you do, Johanna? Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, you were there yesterday, weren't you? And lots of jokes that I was involved somehow.
I mean, sometimes the universe can be unfair, like, and once you put your eyes on something you like, come the universe and destroys it completely.
No, I'm thinking, thank God I was able to see it before it exploded. It could have been that, it could have been too late. I got to see it. But yeah, there's always something happening in Berlin. Yeah.
No, I see.
Have you had any crazy dates in Berlin?
I didn't experience a lot in terms of dates in Berlin, but yes, I met once a girl in a party. I don't remember exactly the club. I was here in Berlin, and a couple of years ago. It was a blonde German girl, and I was with some friends in the club, and suddenly she approached me, and she said, you look very handsome, which is something that it's very infrequent. Usually I am the one that needs to approach and take the initiative. In this case, she was the one taking the initiative, and she took my phone, my phone number, and yeah, we talked a little bit that night, but we continued chatting during the next days. And she said to me, okay, let's this was a Friday, let's meet on a Sunday, after lunch. We grab a coffee, and yeah, this girl took me to Schöneberg, to Victoria Platz, and literally we were 15 minutes in the walking in the park, and she said to me, like, come to my place, like, let's like
That can also happen in Berlin. Yeah. No, I feel like people are more. There's not as many rules of what's allowed and not allowed when you talk about like men and women.
yeah.
And I also feel like so I'm from Sweden, and in Sweden, I feel like you're on a scale like from 1 to 10, and if you're an 8, you date 8s and so on. But here in Berlin, like, I feel like people are not as superficial in a way. Could be that they are, but I feel like here I am dating people that in Sweden, they would never approach me. They do approach me here, and like I find that charming, like I'm more into like who the person is. So I feel like I have more chances to get to know people here. But also like people that it looks like model approaches me, and that would never happen in Sweden. I'm like, it's hard for me to comprehend. I'm like, why are you talking to me? And they're like, you're the sexiest woman I've ever seen. I'm like, what? Have you seen yourself? And they're like literal models. Like, I feel like here my dating range is so much wider, and it makes it so much more interesting. And you have so many more different nationalities, and they appreciate different things that maybe Swedish people wouldn't appreciate. So like something that might be a negative in Sweden is a positive here, and yeah, so.
Yeah,
It's fun to date in Berlin. If you date in Berlin with the approach like, I need to find myself a partner, I'm so lonely, then dating in Berlin is like a living hell. It's so hard. And I had that, like, right after my breakup, I had this like feeling like I need to be in a duo, I need to belong to someone. And I was really suffering, and I met guys, and I thought like we had a lovely time, and then all of a sudden they would ghost you, and I was like, what? That never happened to me before. But it's so it can be really hard. Like, you meet people, and there's so many things happening, and there's so many options for everyone. So like, it can be that you have the most amazing time, and then you don't hear from them again, and that was really hard for me. And then I started shifting my focus from I need to belong to someone to I need to belong to myself.
Okay.
Like, it's such a cliche, but you do like, I needed to love myself first before I could really enjoy the Berlin dating scene. And now I'm dating more like, if I meet someone, that would be great. But if I don't, I'm just gonna enjoy this ride. Like, life is it's a roller coaster, and I'm just gonna put my hands up in the air and enjoy the ride.
And
Yeah.
I think that energy, like that explorative and curiosity energy, it's very, very, very interesting from a man's perspective. Sometimes you feel that the girl is looking for a relationship with you, like, and you are some sort of a milestone in a wider project, like, and yeah, I need to get married, I need to have a family, and it doesn't matter if it's you or someone similar to you.
Anyone who's available.
Yeah. So when you feel
that
that
must be a bit hurtful as well. Like, you must feel like, but what about me? Who I am as a person?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's if you get that energy, then yeah, you probably feel like, no, I'm not
good.
special.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to feel special, and I think women happen similar. Like, if you like are dating with a guy, and the guy only wants to have sex with you.
Yeah, or only like compliments your looks, or
compliments your looks.
And you're like, hey, I have a brain also. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. And I also noticed, since I have this new approach, that like, I'm a wonderful person to be with, and if you want to be with me, then like, fine. But if you don't, then that's, I wouldn't say it's your loss. It's like, no, it's like, that's your preference. I'm still gonna enjoy my life, and I'm still gonna have fun and feel good about myself. My worth is not depending on if someone else is attracted to me or want to be in a relationship with me or not. And I realize that this approach is very attractive to a lot of men. Because I like now it's like I don't really care, and people have never been so drawn to me as I noticed that they are now, because I have more like a carefree approach. So yeah, like now I think dating in Berlin is fun, but I really think it depends on how you're feeling on the inside.
Okay, so how would you say, so to a person that is in Berlin or in a big city and they want to find true connection with someone or find a relationship, and they see that the dynamics of the city are, like everyone has a lot of options, everything seems that you to use and discard and misuse. If you have a friend that wants to find a relationship in Berlin,
I would say go home.
go home.
No, I'm kidding.
Hopeless,
No, it's not like it's impossible to find a relationship here. Come on, like there's like normal couples everywhere. I think you just need to know who you are, know what you want, set clear boundaries. If you are looking for a relationship, don't date a guy who's not looking for a relationship. And like you're setting yourself up to be hurt. Be very clear and direct. Don't be afraid to say, I'm looking for a relationship. You will find people who are also looking for a relationship. But if you are just, if you're conforming yourself to, like you really like someone and you, like, why don't they like me the same way? And you start changing yourself, like that's never going to help. So just like, be yourself, be clear, be direct. That would be my advice.
No, that's very, very interesting. And I focus in putting the attention to the be yourself, and the be yourself requires knowing yourself.
Exactly, and that requires a lot of work. That doesn't come for free. And after my breakup, I was so focused on like I need to find someone else, and it's like, yeah, but if you do, you're still hiding yourself and your traumas and your emotions, everything in that one person. That one person is not going to save you. The only person who can save you is yourself, but it requires work. So I would say if you're single and you're like, oh my God, I really, really want a relationship, maybe go to therapy. Maybe go through your childhood traumas. Like, why do I have the need to be liked? Or why do I need we have different needs, and they're usually like trauma responses. And we all have traumas, all of us. So I think Berlin in general needs therapy. Yeah.
No, I agree 100%. The key, one of the key issues from dating apps is that people don't know themselves. Then when they go on a date, they actually enter in an arena in which they are not being themselves. They don't feel they can be vulnerable or authentic because they are going to be judged, and because of that the date is not successful, and you get stuck in a cycle of dates after dates in which in each iteration you feel less confident, less you feel that you have less worth if you're not equipped with the mindset to know what you are, who you are, and project that authentically in a dating process.
Yeah, and if you are 100% yourself, you will attract the right people for you. Like, don't ask yourself, am I right for them? No, ask yourself, are they right for me? And if you're being yourself and they don't want you, then they're not right for you. Why would you want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with your authentic self? Like, I'm a goofball. Like, I have a lot of issues, but I wear them on, like, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm very open. Like, I'm this messy person, blah, blah, blah. If you can't handle that, I'm not going to invite you to be part of my life, because that's just going to be painful for you and for me. So I think it's just better that we are very honest about our shortcomings and things like this as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the definition of self-confidence, actually.
Yeah.
I have my bad things, my good things, and I'm in peace with them.
And I'm good enough. You know, you don't have to be the best. Just be good enough. You know, like you don't always have to be the smartest, richest, most handsome. Like no, like everyone is struggling with something. Like we all have our different struggles, and I would say like just be you, and you are good enough. That's it.
I think that's a very, very nice message, Johanna. Okay, so to wrap up the interview and this conversation, you know, like one of the approaches we want to have in this podcast is to participate in this discussion of the gender role distribution that, you know, like 50 years ago we had what they are called the traditional gender roles, in which men had a particular set of tasks assigned for men and women had a different one. Men were supposed to protect and provide, and women were supposed to take care of the nest and some emotional protection. And but since the 90s, this have the role of the women and the role of the men expanded, and now we are a little bit confused. Some of the things that this confusion popped up during our conversation, but I would like to ask you in a very simple format,
Right.
about what do you think about some topics. Okay?
Okay.
Telegraphically.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. So, do you think that a man needs to pay for a first date?
Oh my God, I hate this question because I get so judged. I would say yes. And can I answer why I think so?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think a man needs to pay every time, but it's very nice if he pays for the first date. I'm happy to pay for the second date. But do you know how much time and money women put on how we dress, our makeup? Like, you know, like we're joking about this. Like we spend so much time like being pretty for you, you know? So no, I think a man can pay for the first date, definitely. And then that also, I'm always nervous when I go on a first date about who's paying. I don't mind paying, but I like this whole thing of like, should I, should you? And it makes me so nervous. I can't even focus on like the date. So if I'm going on a date with a man that it feels so clear to me, and I can pretty much tell like, yeah, this guy, he will definitely pay for the first date, and I am more relaxed. And it's not even about money. It's not about the money. It's about feeling like I'm a woman and I'm being taken out and I feel special. So yeah, please pay for the first date.
Okay, that's an interesting approach. So do you think women should wait for men to make the first move?
No. Why? Well, you might miss. What if you see a guy that you're interested in and he's too shy to approach you? I mean, I approach guys all the time, and like usually they're like, "Wow," you know. So why wait? Take your chance. Yeah, grab it.
This is for the girls out there. I mean, men, we really appreciate that. It's so infrequent. If a girl approaches,
Yeah.
we feel so good about it, and it's not that we are judging or anything. It's
And I've noticed as well, like if I'm approaching a guy, immediately he's like, yes, you know, and I feel like he takes us as confidence, and that's something that I found, like confidence is so sexy. And I used to be very like, oh, why are you with me? You could be with any girl, I actually was dating someone, or I hooked up with someone who was like this. And she's beautiful, but she was like, oh, you could be with any girl. Why are you with me? And I was like, why would you say that about yourself? And I just realized, like, I'm just going to fake it till you make it. I'm just going to be from now on, be like unapologetically confident. And I was faking at first, but then I saw how much it works. So just like, yeah, you do you.
No, it's very interesting. And if you show yourself confidently to someone and that person feels insecure because of your confidence, that's not your person.
No. And I was like, yeah. No, I agree. So, But confidence is also hard. Like, you can have days where you have a lot of confidence, and then you can have days when you don't have any confidence as well. It's not like you're a confident person always. So, but I'm usually having the approach, if I'm asking a guy out, the worst thing that can happen is that he says no, and like, it's actually not dangerous. It's not dangerous to be rejected. It's fine.
That's good. That's an interesting point. So regarding the men and women taking care of the kids,
Yeah.
do you think it should be more traditional, like men go and hunt and bring the money, and women take care of the...
So I'm from Sweden, where we have like 50-50 parental leave. So for me, it's not even like a question, to be honest. Like, I was born and raised in a country where men take as much part as women in bringing after children, and I think, like, why wouldn't, if you can have that chance, why wouldn't you take it? But then I can understand that there are other parts, like, for example, men earn more money than women, so maybe it makes more sense that the man works and the woman stays at home. But that is the issue with the money gap, the pay gap. That's a different discussion. But no, I think it's important. Like, you're a family, like, you should both help
definitely.
out.
I mean, there is a massive amount of, let's say, creators in the pro men or giving advice to men that they are pushing to go back to traditional gender roles, and this is something that pops up.
I think also, like, every family have to decide for themselves. Like, it could be that the mother really, really wants to be home with the kids, and like, the father is invested in his work. Like, if that works for them, you also have to, I think you have to respect what every family decides to do. But I think society needs to give the opportunity for women to, like, for example, like, our retirements get affected if we're home more with the children than the man. So that's also not fair. Like, then we're earning even less, even in our retirement, because we decided to take care of the children. Which is, if you are two parents, it should be a two-man's job. Like, it shouldn't affect one person's retirement.
No, definitely. I agree 100% with what you say. Even if you are bringing different things to the table, they are equally valuable. And this is something that during decades it was not like that. You know, like that the extremely valuable job of taking care of the kids and the house and the elderly was not being seen as valuable, not rewarded.
Which is insane, because our whole society is relying on that. Like, I'm also a teacher, you know, like, if we didn't have teachers, it's a field where there's mostly women are working, especially if you work with the younger years. Like, all these typical female works are less paid, but our society could never work without them.
And I agree 100%, and that's why distribution of this task.
Are we getting into politics now?
We could definitely. On the dating end, Tinder or Hinge?
Neither. Like,
Yeah.
no. No, I'm so tired of apps, really. I used to have Tinder. I used to have Bumble. I don't know if I still have them. I'm certainly not using them. And it's like, it's Berlin. You don't need to go on dating apps. You can just open the door, walk out in the street, and there's, like, all your dating opportunities are there. Yeah.
I agree 100% with that. So after a successful date, to your house or to my house?
Oh, I had this question yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, and I like to go to my house. I like to wake up in my bed, and I like to have my coffee machine and so on. And yesterday there was like a discussion in my house or your house, and apparently he lived around the corner. And I was like, oh man, I don't know. But then I was like, okay, let me see how your apartment looks like. It was a bit rude of me. I was also a bit drunk, but I saw his apartment. It was very nice. I was like, okay, we can stay here. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so it's an assessment. I imagine it. Okay, Johanna, thank you very much. I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
For, like being innovating in the forefront of the dating experience and helping other people to find their love or their hookup or fun, essentially not feeling lonely. And with this project, Smingle, that you're pushing forward, I think you're contributing in this direction. Where people can find you more about you and your project?
So if you have Instagram, it's smingle.berlin. And if you don't have Instagram, we have a Gmail. So smingle.berlin@gmail.com.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed the discussion and Johanna's story. You can find the links in the description to the Smingle community in Berlin. And why not? Give offline dating a chance wherever you are. Stay tuned for the next episode, and together, let's keep building better relationships one conversation at a time.